good morning. You're watching Morning Coffee. I'm your host, Keith Reynolds. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Charlene Chamberlain, who's back. Char, good morning.
Good morning. I missed you yesterday.
Yeah, you're feeling better?
I am. Thank you very much.
Good, good. We had a good show, but we missed you.
Great.
So what's going on today?
Well, we have a very special guest, and you know every guest is very special to us on
Absolutely.
Morning Coffee. We say that to everyone. I want to start off with a little snippet here. A patient only leaves Kolney Hatch Lunatic Asylum in two ways: by way of a rare circumstance or by his death. And I know that sounds a little bit mysterious, but I have a mystery writer here with us today. It's author Stefi Milan, and she is just releasing the second edition of her debut book, The Secret of Kolney Hatch.
Nice, nice.
Welcome, Stephanie. It's nice to have you on Morning Coffee
This
finally.
is our first mystery, right?
I know, and I have to tell you, I read this book, and I am actually looking forward to reading it again. I like to read. I read it. I'm going to put it away for a couple of months and then revisit it. That's the kind of book that it is.
Okay, very cool.
Tell us about your journey. How did you come up with the idea and the premise of this book? Did you do a lot of research?
Well, not initially. Initially, this began as a project for a creative writing class at Rutgers University, Camden.
Interesting.
Nice.
Our teacher asked us to write a 20-page report, and a 20-page story. I wrote this because I've always been interested in London and in asylums and horror.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin and I used to make films, like horror films with each other.
Little
And,
films,
and they were
films.
really good stuff.
Yeah,
We
sure.
made the blood and everything.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I was always into the mystery, suspense, and all of that. So when it came time to write a story, I was like, I'm going to do this. So it started as that.
So it started as a 20-page.
Just a 20-page story.
Right.
It was actually letters from the main character to this woman in England, and there was a mystery surrounding it. So.
Well, your characters' descriptions and your interpretation of the culture are just uncanny. It's like you've lived there maybe in a past life, or have you visited there many times? Have you actually been to England and Scotland?
No, I haven't.
No.
I actually, it's funny that you bring up the past life thing, because I always thought that I had this
Affinity.
yeah, that I lived there or something of that nature, and I really love London and I love Scotland. So I did end up actually, because I wasn't able to travel there, I ended up rooting myself in Google Earth.
Okay.
So I would
That's great.
research.
Google Earth is
I
wonderful.
love
You
it
can see
so
so
much.
many great places. You can travel from your chair.
Exactly. I did it for a year. I was traveling, on
Right.
Google Earth for a year. Every single day I would go on. I would travel up and down streets in London. I'd go to Scotland. So I rooted myself in that way. And I did other research at that point,
Oh, sure.
for other things.
But you've also captured the times, and it's not present day time. What time frame and what time period does this book take place?
This is in 1926 to 1927. In London, it was very different than, even in America. So I had to really root myself in the, English culture, the way they dressed, the things that were happening, like the general strike of 1926, things like that. I had to really know the dialogue.
Oh, absolutely. The dialogue.
Was, and I had a decision to make too with that, because once we went into Scotland, I could have put the dialect in there, and it was there, and I had it, and I decided not to do it for purposes of mass to the masses. I wanted them to be able to really connect with the book and not worry about cutting through the
Yeah, because
accent,
the Scottish accent, is a little, well, actually not a little bit, a lot different than a British accent in various sections of areas of England. Those accents are different as well.
Yes.
And same as, I'm Scottish, so I know.
Okay,
so
yeah,
same
yeah.
as Scotland.
Yep.
Your character descriptions are just amazing, from the busybody Petunia to the affluent Locksleys to the dashing Dr. Watson, which is a very well-known British name. Which leads me to my question, did you base any of these characters on real-life characters?
Well, yes.
Real-life people.
Yes, I did. I have to say that I did. I had.
You don't have to reveal who it is.
Yeah, I had a few people that came in and out of my life that I said, oh Yes.
New characters, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
characters
Okay, they're
that
characters.
of course they're not in any way the same, but they
Right.
were a,
Modeled a little
model,
bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when you go into the writing zone, do you have any special rituals or anything that you do to help you get to that place?
I listen to Pandora.
Okay.
I have to listen to Pandora.
Here.
She
Film
taught me
score.
this.
Yeah.
Before the show started, I was blaring
Right.
music. I didn't even know he was in it.
Yeah, I have to listen to Pandora film score. I don't know, it's a thing. If I cannot get into the writing mood unless I'm listening to it.
So you have that on while you're working the whole time.
Yeah. Mhm.
So the creative juices are flowing, and you're actually, and music is a mathematical equation, so that must be sparking the other
Now, any
things.
particular music, gets you more motivated, or just, what's
It's really the film scores to things like the Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, sure.
Or like
Oh,
Harry Potter, because it gets me thinking about even the fact that, somebody like J.K. Rowling was able to write these
That's an
masterpieces,
amazing
and
story.
yeah, and then to listen to the music and think in my head, oh, okay, one day mine could be a film and mine could have this beautiful score to it.
It
so.
absolutely could, and when I was reading it, I was seeing screenplay, as I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably traveled down that road too.
My ultimate goal is that. So.
That's
Yeah,
great.
because I know when I'm trying to concentrate, I'm listening to my Pandora or whatever. It's more of the classic rock, makes me feel good, brings me back to childhood. And then when I'm feeling mean and have to get it's like
You
DMX.
play some angry music?
Yeah, DMX,
He's
50
playing angry
Cent,
music.
Biggie Smalls comes out, and you have to be mean.
Okay, so now I know what to listen for when I walk in
Yeah,
the
if you hear
morning.
Biggie Smalls playing, I'm just like ready to go
Don't
shoot
talk
someone.
to Keith yet. That's pretty funny. Well, I've been all over the internet reading your wonderful reviews, and I just want to share a couple with our viewers. This was by Laura Dell. She's the author of Graveyard Shifts and Dueling Moons, and she says about The Secret of Kolney Hatch, the final verdict on this delightful, edge-of-your-seat thrill ride is 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot wait to see more from this budding new author. That's a great review. And here's one more I would like to share. There is a humming of suspense that brews just under the surface, and the author took me down a few winding roads only to drive a hard turn into the story. And these reviews are absolutely dead on because it's a great read. It's a great story. Not too scary. It has a lot of interesting twists and turns at the end. I wasn't real sure how you were going to get there because as I was following along sort of halfway through, I started thinking, could this be this? Could this be that? But it wasn't what I thought it was until I got to the end. So you helped my suspense as well.
We're going to take a quick commercial break because I want to talk a little bit about the book. I told you, I'm not really a reader, but like, if you can just give me a little bit of some information so I can tie it into the movie when you make the movie. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Choosing the right fence for your home or business is an important decision to make. Choose a Nello fence for peace of mind. Our family has manufactured and installed beautiful maintenance-free fence for over 50 years. We provide vinyl, aluminum, and wood fence in a wide variety of styles and colors, including chain-link fence for commercial and residential. Call or visit our indoor showroom and ask for Steve Anello and see how 4 generations of combined experience mean that you'll get quality and service that can't be matched by any other fencing company, period. Call Anello Fence today for a free estimate.
If you're just starting out or your family is growing, your most precious memories are made with family and friends in your home. Seventh Level Mortgage, our region's premier mortgage company. We're rolling up our sleeves, giving your situation personal analysis, helping you get your dream home. Whether you've been turned down for a loan or just want to refinance, Seventh Level Mortgage can make all the difference. An award-winning, veteran-owned business. Log on now to Seventh Level Mortgage. That's 7thlbl.com.
We invited women to bring their body washes to a spa and compare them to Dove body wash. This test paper shows just how different body washes can be. It amplifies how some can dry your skin more than others. Dove is different. Its breakthrough technology has a unique blend of gentle cleansers and nourishing Nutrient moisture. How soft does that feel? Dove Deeply Nourishing Body Wash. This is unique. This is different. This is care.
Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Charlene Chamberlain. And we also have a lovely guest in the house, Stephanie Milan, who is a murder mystery writer? Mm-hmm. Okay. Suspense. Okay. So, I'm not much of a reader, but, most of the times stories turn into movies, or books turn into movies. I'm a big movie guy. I can tell you all kinds of stuff about movies. But so tell me a little bit about this book. Obviously I don't want to go to ending or anything like
No, we can't give that
but
away.
just kind of set it up.
Sure. So this book is set in 1926 London. It is about a man named Paul Watson. He's a new doctor. He's young, and his mother was murdered 6 years prior to the book beginning. He's sort of a tortured soul, but as the book opens, he's a very well-liked, well-admired doctor, and very handsome, as you can get for the movies. And they experience in London a murder that is very similar to his mother's murder. So once again, these feelings are ignited. His neighbor Petunia decides to turn sleuth and turn detective and figure out what's going on with this murder and cover it. Meanwhile, he can't deal with this, so he leaves and goes to Scotland and decides to become a resident physician in the lunatic asylum in Kolney. So there's a dual storyline here, and as the mystery unfolds in London, another mystery unfolds in Scotland, and whether or not they're intertwined is something that you just want to read the book to find out.
Yeah, and I must say, what happens in Scotland is dark.
It stays in Scotland.
Dark.
It doesn't stay.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because there's a movie out called, or a series called Highland that's out. And it has to do with Scotland and different things, and I'm learning about the different dialects of the movies and stuff. So, but very dark times in certain parts of that world. So now you mentioned the handsome Dr. Watson. If you had to pick a movie star.
That's going to be my
What's
question. You're reading my mind now.
So many, though.
Come on, just name it here, and then maybe they might see
Who
this.
would you love? Who would be your
My
dream actor
first
for that?
choice was Mike Vogel. I don't know if you guys know who he was, but he was in Pan Am. He was also in Under the Dome.
Yeah.
I love him. I love
Wait a minute,
him.
is that the guy that is the kind of like the hero of Under the Dome?
Barbie. Yeah.
Barbie, yeah. Watch that. I gotta give her a high five. Yeah, Barbie.
He's from Pennsylvania.
Oh, you make it forget him.
He's probably too big.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I bet you would do something like this.
I mean, I'd love for him to do that. He looked so good in Pan Am. I mean, he could play this part.
But
so
is he? You know what? We were just talking about this on one of our other shows. How the different dialect or the language.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors we see nowadays are Australian,
Or British.
stuff
But they really
like
pull
that.
off an
Yeah.
American
They
dialect.
pull off American dialect. Now I'm
It's pretty
wondering if he can
amazing.
pull off. That might be a
British,
challenge to
yeah.
him.
He might want to do it even more so.
There you go.
Completely. There are dialect coaches that they hire for this.
Yeah.
And they work on it. How about for the role of Claire?
Oh,
She's so beautiful. She's
Yeah.
a beautiful girl.
I always had in my mind Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. Okay.
Rachel McAdams.
She's the Notebook. Okay.
The
Mean Girl?
girl, I've probably seen.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah.
I have seen
All those
Mean
good
Girl.
time traveler's wife.
Yeah. I've seen Mean Girl.
Yeah.
She just has that Claire.
And how about Petunia?
You know, she's tough. She is tough, but I'll tell you.
The elderly busybody.
Yeah, she's a tough person to have. Because I always do, on my Facebook, I do casting, and I find people who this person would be perfect. I had still not found them.
Petunia, older woman.
Oh, yeah.
Older, maybe 40s, heavier set, brown hair. Yeah.
This could be a lady if it's I don't know. You ever see that?
Yeah, no.
Seriously.
Oh,
I can't think of her name. She's so
Melissa
funny.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she probably could bring a humor to this character too, but yeah.
You almost need somebody like the Dowager from Downton but
Yeah.
not her.
Yeah.
But that kind of,
I have Mrs. Wendell Casby,
okay.
Maggie Smith.
Maggie,
She's
yeah,
another
see,
big-
Maggie
yeah.
is great. I love her.
I just got this one.
Mrs. Wendell is one of the busybodies. She's
There's a little, they have this little gathering where they have tea once a week or
Yeah.
every day, and they gossip about everybody, and they're not, well, these ladies do not know like anyone. And you have to understand, back in the 20s, they weren't using technology to communicate. They had to speak to one another to communicate, to find out what was really happening. Was that in a newspaper?
Well, and the letters, I like kind of like this kind of like stuff. Like one of the shows I watch was like, and it's so good. That's about people that she's really rich and her mother practice, not black magic,
Alchemy, probably alchemy.
yeah, holistic stuff,
Yeah.
But a lot of messages, a lot of the old, writing a letter and snapping it with the wax, someone opens it, which is insane. It's a letter I peek in there every time.
Yeah, but you break the seal, so.
Yeah, well, I peek in, but seriously, I mean, communication now is texting.
Well, how about, when we did a show a couple weeks ago, how they communicated with, and I don't want to jump off of what we were talking about earlier, but they were communicated by sending certain flowers.
Yes.
Like a certain flower meant I was going to declare war on you, a certain flower meant that I'm jealous, a certain flower was the beware. I mean, they were using flowers as messages.
And what we were talking about in the green room, you get a fish on the door and...
Yeah, it's all over.
That was for you, Tony Soprano.
Curtains for you. Well, there's curtains for a couple of characters in The Secret of Kolney Hatch, but I won't reveal it because I really want everyone to go out and buy it because it's a really great book and it's a great read. Pete, do you have any more questions for Stephanie?
I just want to know, you know what? How long do you have to, when you write a book, how long, is there a certain waiting period that you have to go through to kind of throw this out there to people and say, hey, I want to make a movie out of this?
I'm not really sure. I think it just, by law of attraction or whatnot, it needs to get in the right hands. It needs to.
Well,
right people
also,
to see it.
my other question is, okay, this is a book, in reading format. Does it have to be presented to a film person in a different format?
I think that they traditionally want a screenplay. However, there are people out there who turn these into screenplays. If someone were to, say, okay, we want to make this book a movie, well, then they'd have they'd have someone right there turning this into a screenplay.
Yeah, because it's a he said, she said.
Yeah, I mean, because I know, like, look, we have a studio kitchen being built in our studio, and I think a lot of people come in and start making it a functioning kitchen. It's really not functioning kitchen. It's a studio kitchen where it appears.
It's almost like a prop kitchen, but
right,
it does work.
It works, but it's not like
it's not your house.
You don't need to have the can opener here because you're going to be doing all that and cooking.
Right.
It's totally different. So
right.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So actually, how long again did it take you to create the book? Like from creation to actually publishing it, because you self-published it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It took me 10 years.
10 years.
It took me 10 years. But I wasn't working on it diligently for 10 years. So it began in 2004.
Right.
I revisited it a little bit in 2006. Went back to it fully in 2009, 2010.
So what made you make the turn to go back to it and just jump in and do it?
Well, I was studying the manifestation books, Following True Purpose.
Oh, yes. A lot of those.
Yeah. Overcoming fear, letting in love, etc., etc.
And allowing success.
Yes, exactly. And at that point, I said, I can do this. I know that I can, and I'm going full-fledged, and that was really the catalyst to this. I actually was introduced to the books through Mike Lemon. I was taking classes with him.
Classes there too.
Yeah, and he introduced me to that. And once I picked that up, I was like, oh, you know what I need? I know what I'm doing with my life. I know what my true purpose is, So that was how. And then in 2010, 2011, I just focused on that. I was working another job, but I would do it on weekends and at nighttime.
Spare time.
Yeah. Yep.
I like the fact that you did it over that period. I mean,
You
I
really
think
have to-
that, sure, I mean, there's people out there who could probably spit out a book by, in a year, but I don't know if much thought goes into it.
Well, she lived with those characters for
I love
9, 10 years, and that's, I occasionally write a song once in a while, and it's a similar creative process. I live with the notes, the words, and the music, and it evolves and evolves and evolves over time. But then how do you get to the point where you say, this is it? That's the hard part. When you take a long journey like that, I know in music, I'll work on something for a year, 2 years, I'll put it away, then I'll go back to it 3 years later and go, oh, I need to fine tune it some more. It's very hard to do that. To say, it's finished, this is as good as I think I can get it, it's like you birth the baby, then you have to let it grow up.
Now, you know what, when you were writing this, I know, probably 50 years ago, writing a book, the amount of pages was probably different. Society was not as fast as it is now. You have to capture people within 4 seconds of reading something on your website.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because of video.
So I guess did you have to kind of take this story and kind of crunch it in today's world of how people read? Or you just kind of let it go and said, hey, like it, and
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I read somewhere once that you should always write for yourself and not for other people, because the story that you tell will be more authentic. It's, once it's tailored to what someone else wants or what other people want, it loses. That being said, I visualize things in film, so for me it was like, I like the fast pace. Anyway, like when I'm watching films and I like cutting scenes and whatnot, so it was easier for me to write a story that was a little bit quicker in that sense and less drawn out. So, but yeah, I did. Even though it's everything that I wrote, I still did tailor it to this time, thinking like people don't want to read a chapter that's 50 pages long; they want like 2 pages.
Right.
So
it's very on demand.
Exactly. But that's why they created on demand too.
That's
so.
right. I know.
All right. Well, you know what? How can our listeners check your book out?
Well, right now the newest edition is out on Amazon.com. It's you can pick it up in paperback there and in e-reader. It will soon be in Barnes & Noble online to start, and hopefully soon in the store. So.
And I think you mentioned you have a sequel in the works.
I do.
Can we talk a little tiny bit about that? Don't give it away now.
I won't. There are a lot of great things, a lot of twists and turns, new suspense in the sequel. Same characters. There might be a couple new ones and a couple people that obviously can't come back for a certain reason. But it's I'm about 150 pages into it, and this one was actually easier to write because I'm already still in that creative process with this book. So
you already have the setup.
Yeah, so it's definitely way easier, and it should be done by the end of this year.
And I think you mentioned that there's some drawings.
They're actually in the book.
Oh, great. That's great.
Yeah, I drew them myself. So my main character kind of looks like my Google.
He needs to get a copy of the book.
I'll just send it to him.
You should.
So when I was finishing the book, I was watching a lot of Under the Dome too. So
right.
it's really an influence.
Inspired you.
But I was also watching a lot of Doctor Who. I drew Claire, I drew John Loxley, I drew Paul Watson, and I drew Richard Baker. So, and then I was like, it would be cool to put the drawings in the book, a little extra.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's great. It kind of gives people a starting point. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back after this commercial break.
Right.
When I discovered the wonder of the path was easier to see. There ain't no other but the one I love. Won't you come deliver me? That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
8er Mustang. Unleash yours. The new 2013 Mustang.
Хочешь знать, что я сделаю с тобой? Сначала я покрошу тебя на мелкие кусочки, а потом возьму и посыплю на большую чашу с мороженым.
I have no idea what you're saying, but count me in.
Peanut M&M for everyone!
Wait, what?
And we're back with Stephanie Milan, whose new book, The Secret of Kolney Hatch, is going to be released, or was it just released?
It was just released yesterday.
Just released yesterday. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Stephanie is kind enough to read us a little bit of the beginning of her book, just a little tease of what's to come. So take it away.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get one of these mics up here so we can make sure we hear it.
Okay, sure. Every Saturday at 4 in the afternoon, Petunia asked her friends, Beatrice and Tessie, to her home for a cup of tea. Of course, the real reason they gathered each week was to share the latest gossip around London. But that dull, muggy Saturday afternoon in the beginning of April, when our story begins, as the women gathered around a petite walnut table in the middle of Petunia's drawing room, they did not speak of the usual scandals of relationships and stolen items around town, for something had happened in London early that morning that had distressed even the most unlikable ladies. Where was the body found?
Very good. Very good.
And if you want to find out where that body was found, you will have to pick up The Secret of Kolney Hatch by Stephanie Milan, available at Barnes & Noble online.
Online and on Amazon.com in paperback.
And do you have a website or Facebook address you can share with our viewers?
Sure, it's www.stephaniemilan.com.
Awesome. Well, we'll be right back. Our next guest coming up is
Steve Hogan.
Steve Hogan. So we'll be back.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank
Nice to have
you,
you on the
Stephanie.
show.
so much for
Thank you for coming back, or thank you for coming on.
Ahead with the ball.
Football.
There's a shot! And it's
When I discovered the wonder of the path was easier to see. There ain't no other but the one I love. Won't you come deliver me? That's how it starts. That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Everyone has an 8er Mustang. Unleash yours. The new 2013 Mustang.
Хочешь знать, что я сделаю с тобой? Сначала я покрошу тебя на мелкие кусочки, а потом возьму и посыплю на большую чашу с мороженым.
I have no idea what you're saying, but count me in.
Peanut M&M for everyone!
Wait, what?
When I discovered the wonder of the path was easier to see. There ain't no other but the one I love. Won't you come deliver me? That's how it starts. That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Everyone has an inner Mustang. Unleash yours. The new 2013 Mustang.
Kick off your new year at the Croc Center, helping families achieve their full potential with fitness facilities, indoor competition and play pools, performing arts theater, educational programs, and fun for all ages, including seniors and teens on our 24-acre campus in the Kramer Hill section of Camden. Book now for birthday parties and corporate events. Monthly memberships start at $25 for a household of 4. The Ray and Joan Kroc Core Community Center in Camden, where potential meets opportunity.